Good morning, Jamie. You all right?
Morning. Can you hear me okay?
Yep, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Perfect. Brilliant. How are we doing then? You all right?
I'm okay. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. Right. So first things first, we just need to lock our meeting room. There we go. Okay. So nobody else can come and join the call now. It's just me and you.
Yeah.
Right. So we'll do some administration stuff first. Get some stuff out of the way. So obviously I'm Tony Cheshire. I'm going to be doing the PD today. Okay. So have you got your ID with you?
Yeah.
Just hold it up to the camera and state your name and date of birth for me, mate. Yep, that's it. Cool. Okay. And next thing, if you can just get hold of the camera and just give me a bit of a tour of the room. And again, just talk to me while you're doing it, please.
Yeah. I'm on charge as well, so I've got a bit of a cable.
That's fine.
Table, water, phone, which I'll put in my pocket. Mine's on silent.
Okay, on the other side.
Yeah. I'm right up there. I don't know what the I was told I was allowed that.
Yep, that's fine.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Chairs there.
Lovely. Thank you. Nice small little room there. Is that a meeting room or something, that one?
Yeah, it's just like a little private box room.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay. So nobody's come and disturb you or anything, are they?
No, I've told my motion controller and ASM.
Brilliant. Fantastic. Okay. So obviously this is going to go on for about an hour. Okay. And yeah, so it's exam conditions. So obviously you told me that your phone's on silent and out the way. So that's fine. And you've got your job card with you. So that's okay. You can have that. You can refer to that when we go through that section. Okay. Purely because it's probably been a while since you've done the job. Yeah, so you might need a bit of a refresh. That's not a problem at all. Okay. So that should be the Lambda sensor job card.
That's it.
Yeah, fantastic. Okay, so you got the right one then. Right. So let me tell you how today is going to go. So today, obviously, we're going through the professional discussion. There's two sections to it, basically. Your first section is looking at your general working practices, behaviors, that sort of thing, day-to-day sort of stuff in work. Then we move on to the job card, okay, where you'll get a chance to tell me about the job, what you did, how you found the fault, that sort of thing. Then I'll ask you some technical questions about the job and the sort of overall system, okay. So we'll have a discussion about that. You'll find that we'll get into a bit of a chat and we'll sort of just mosey on through it, so it shouldn't be too bad, okay. While we're going through, obviously I'm going to be asking you questions. If there's any questions that you either don't understand or you want to repeat, then please just ask. Okay. I'll be looking to this side because that's where my notes are. Okay. Also, I've got a screen above you, so I might be tapping away on the keyboard and just looking up. It's just because I'm making notes of what we're saying. Okay.
That's fine.
Okay, perfect. So obviously you would have been told about our appeals procedure last week with was it Teresa that came down? Yeah. So she have told you about our appeals procedure, but I do have to go through it again. It's a separate assessment. Okay. So at any point during any of our assessments, if you feel like you've been mistreated, you feel like you've not been able to achieve because of the process, okay, you've got the right to appeal. To do that, on our website at the bottom, there's a link that says policies and procedures. If you click that link, it takes you into the documents, okay, and it's the top document, which is our appeals procedure. Basically, you've got 20 days from receiving your results to make an appeal, okay. It's going to cost you £100. However, if the appeal goes your way, decision's overturned, you get that money back. Okay, happy with that? Fab. Okay. So, any questions before we start going?
No.
No. How did you get on with your skills test last week?
I hope I'm doing all right.
Yeah.
It's a bit nerve-wracking in obviously the environment you're in, but I'm hoping for the best, really.
Yeah, feel confident. Yeah, good. Okay. So yeah, I mean, to be honest, if you feel confident, it sort of gives you that sort of confidence to actually work through it. Yeah. So it's not too bad. So hopefully it went all right for you.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, brilliant. So if you can just sort of start me off then, Jamie, just by giving me a bit of background about where you work, what sort of things you do on a regular basis, sort of jobs you get in, how many technicians you've got there. Just give me a bit of a breakdown.
Yeah. So Oxford Audi.
Okay.
It's a 12 ramp workshop. So there's, and then personally me on a day-to-day basis, starting in the morning, I'll probably get some servicing, some waiting services, stuff like that, and then heading towards lunchtime in the afternoon. That's when I'll start maybe getting some diagnosis. So generally it could be in the EML light, or like maybe some electrical faults like window doesn't work or something like that. But yeah, on a day-to-day basis, roughly it'd be morning services, more afternoon diag, and a little bit of servicing.
Yeah, so a bit more sort of, it is structured like that. So you're servicing in the morning and then.
Yeah, so also because when you do the servicing, you flag all stuff on the health checks, and that might get upsold for the afternoon.
Okay.
So then you do it in the morning, and then you can do the other stuff in the afternoon. If that makes sense.
Okay. So how many technicians you've got working with you?
I think there's 10 of us.
Okay.
We got one master tech, three techs at H3Es. Then H3Es are also diagnosis techs, and then the rest of us are service technicians.
Okay. Any other apprentices, or is it just yourself?
Me and two others. One's just graduated.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So another one's just gone through the EPA.
Yeah, he passed. I think 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's
So,
fairly recent then.
yeah.
Okay. So what about the other one then? Is that person sort of year 2, year 3?
yeah, the other one is year 2, and then we have one who's just started.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you've got sort of a flow
Yeah,
through them.
nice little like block of apprentices.
Yeah. Okay. Do you tend to sort of talk about what's been going on and stuff like that anyway?
It's nice because the apprentices, we all help each other. So like the one who just graduated always helped me, and I like the one like who's a bit less than me, well, I'll help him, and he'll help everyone. It's a bit of a nice domino effect, really.
Yeah, it's nice when you can get it like that. If you're on your own as an apprentice and you've got no other apprentices, you sort of feel a bit isolated, don't you?
Yeah, you have to like glue to a technician, really. But when there's loads of you, like even when it comes to a cleaning task, you're like, oh, don't have mate. Yeah, no worries. And then it's just like you get it done quicker, you go out to work, don't you? So
yeah, no, that's good. Okay. So what about the other guys in the workshop then? What sort of things would they tell me about how you work and your work ethic, that sort of thing?
I'd like to say they think I'm a hard worker, because I always like to get my jobs done. Like I'll always happily focus on the job, stay on the job till it's finished if it needs to be finished, and I'll always put 110% in. Like I like to learn. I do like to learn. So if I'm on a diagnosis job and I run the test plan or I run a guided, and I'm not quite sure what the fault code is saying to me, or I'm not quite sure what it's trying to tell me to do, I would happily have the confidence to go and ask another technician, and then I know he'll explain it to me and run me through the details. He won't just do it for me. If that makes sense. He won't just be like, oh,
yeah,
it's this. He'll be like, right, it's this because of this, and it's this because of that.
Okay, that's good. Because yeah, the last thing you want is somebody sort of saying, "Oh, well, I've done. This is what I've done. That's it."
Yeah, and you just like, oh, okay.
Yeah, you're not going to learn anything from that, are you?
Exactly.
So, do you deal with customers at all?
Yeah, probably not on a day-to-day basis, but if a customer was to request a technician for even just an oil top up, or if they had a question, or excuse me,
Right.
question about their cars, obviously the service advisors aren't most knowledgeable about the vehicle, so they'd come and get one of us, and then I'd go out there and explain to the customer about any worries.
So how do you sort of talk to them, and what sort of things have you got to think about when you're spending time with customers?
Well, I keep my professionalism, because obviously they're coming to us as a company, so I portray. I'm still friendly and approachable. However, I'm keeping professional with like my attitude and how I treat them, and even just if I'm going to go and sit in their car, I still wear my PPE, because I don't know how they want me to be around their car. So even if I'm getting their car, I still say, oh, I'll apply a seat cover, I can wear gloves, I'll wear a mask. Like I'll keep it. I won't just bomb in their car and start chatting to them, if you know what I mean.
So what about when you're talking to them then? Is there anything you think about when you're sort of discussing a fault with them or anything?
Yeah, and obviously I know that they won't be technically as minded in vehicle terms as, say, me as a technician. However, I won't make them sound less like smart about the situation. So I'll probably say my formal piece, but then I'll probably help using examples, or I'd happily show them. So if it's under bonnet situation or an interior situation, I'd happily show them with a torch, and I'd like happily try and explain the situation to them, just so they know they're not getting ripped off, or I'm not just lying to their face, really.
So do you have regular meetings at work?
Sorry, do you mean like one-to-one or like workshop meetings?
So just a sort of standard meetings with regards to, I don't know, your
A
daily
target,
work, stuff like that
target and
sort of
stuff.
thing.
So we have a morning meeting, which is like targets and where we at with types of
Yeah. So you
results
have
and
them
stuff.
every morning?
Yeah, every other morning, every other
Oh,
morning.
okay. Okay. And what other meetings do you have?
We have a IGP one-to-one, which is like between you and the ASM.
Okay.
It's like a little catch up, like how you doing, how do you feel, are you comfortable, anything concerning. That's a private one-to-one, like keeps between you and the manager sort of situation.
So in either one of those meetings, really, what's your sort of contribution?
With the results one, it's more the manager tells us where we're at and what we're doing. So he'd be like, "Oh, the apprentices are doing well with their like the results they're producing. Obviously, we're not being efficient, so anything we do just helps them really. Like anything we do is just helping." And then like workshop cleanliness, they'd be like, "Oh, cheers to the apprentices for the cleanliness and stuff like that." And then the one-to-one meetings is just that's when I say my piece. I'm like how I feel about the situation, how I feel at work, and it's always been all right. I've always been treated well here. I'm more than comfortable with the staff around here.
Okay. So is there anything that you sort of mentioned in meetings or just generally that could sort of help the company out or anything?
Um, I've said my piece about workshop cleanliness because I've always said obviously you never know who's going to be um, coming into the workshop, i.e. customers. Sometimes the customer need to forget something in their car and they need to come in the workshop. And then so I just said, oh well, I will always make sure like, at least your ramp to the very least is tidy, just so if they approach your ramp, they're not going to be slipping and tripping everywhere, and and then all hell can break loose from that, really.
Very true. Yeah, you don't want anything all over the floor, do you?
No, of
Just your
course.
customers around.
And it also just a clean workshop, clean rams is it just keeps it professional. Looks at the standard that Audi is.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So what do you understand about the term teamwork and how you actually get a good effective team?
I think in a trade like we're in now, I think teamwork is probably one of the most important things because the amount of times someone's even needing me just to hold something for them or hold it in place or help them lift something, it's just you couldn't do this job on your own sort of situation. And but then you find the technicians who don't want to be part of a team don't usually last as long in the leadership because they think they can do everything by themselves and they can't, and then they don't help others. So then you find the job's not for them really.
Okay. So if you're doing a job and say customers come in about an hour and you think I've got about 2 hours worth of work on this, how would you deal with that situation?
Sorry, do you mean the customers going to pick their car up, but I've still got
Yeah.
work to do? Well, first and foremost, I'll definitely go and tell my workshop controller. And if he's busy, I'll go and tell the service advisor. But I'll tell the workshop controller, who then tell the service advisor. I'll be completely honest, I wouldn't lie to him because then I put myself in a bad situation and I wouldn't want to rush anything because health and safety standards, if I rush something, I'm going to forget something at the end of the day. So I'd rather straight away stop what I'm doing, tell the workshop controller my situation, here then tell the service advisor. Service advisor will then contact the customer to let them know the information. Hopefully it doesn't disturb the customer too much in their plan for their day, and hopefully we can work around either extending the loan car duration or whether it means them coming in and then being comforted in a dealership with the coffee and obviously the TVs and the magazines and stuff. It just means they'll be waiting a little bit longer. But I'll always make sure the job gets done properly and it's in a safe manner.
So you're at work and you start seeing somebody else starting a job, and you've got a bit more experience in that job. You've done a few of them,
Okay.
but they haven't. It's their first one.
Yeah.
How would you handle that?
If they approach straight away, I'd always help them. If I could see they were doing it and I could see they were just flying through it, they was absolutely. You could see they wasn't struggling. I'd happily just let them carry on. And maybe if I thought of something they might forget, I'd go and tell them. However, if I saw they were like maybe a bit overwhelmed by the situation or the job, I'd probably go over and be like, "Oh, look at it like this. Start with this part and then start with this part. Like, do it in stages. Make sure you follow ALSA. Make sure you keep calm. Don't get over your head." And then I'd always tell them anything that I found helpful, which they might not take into consideration, but that's up to them. But I'll always be happy to help anyone in the workshop.
Yeah.
Because I know they do this. Of
Like I say, everybody's got their own way of working through things, haven't they? So,
course.
yeah. Okay. So when you're starting a new job then, and you're starting your process, new one you haven't done before,
Yep.
how would you actually start your process when you bring the car in?
So bring the car in. If it's a job I've never done before, I would first of all load the vehicle up on ALSA, and I'll straight away load the instructions up for the job, and I'd instantly be like revising it, just getting my brain just primed with the information, just making sure I know roughly what area of the vehicle I'm working on, maybe the special tools I'm going to need for getting certain parts. Just scanning, make sure I've got all the parts I need, or all the additional parts I've been ordered before I end up, because if I end up just going straight into the job blind and that part's not been ordered and this part's not been ordered, I'm like car's thinking me stuck on my ramp then. So before I do it, before I touch a bolt on the vehicle, I make sure all my parts are here, authorization's been given, just double checking all the process before I start anything.
Okay. So when you're at work, you're going to be constantly getting feedback from different people saying how you're doing and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Have you ever sort of gone the other way and you've given feedback to somebody else about how they're doing to improve what they're doing?
Sorry, do you mean as like a technician or just anyone?
Yeah, so at work to anybody, just to improve their work, really.
Especially if they're a new member of staff. So they're a new member of staff and you find that they're repeating mistakes. Say, let's say if it was a service supervisor. So service supervisor is not filling the job card out correctly, or they're not putting the right information on. If they do it more than 2-3 times, I'll probably go there and be like, oh, just so you know, like, make sure you do this, or like, it would never be like an aggressive, or it wouldn't never be like a horrible thing to do. I'm just there to say, oh, make sure you do this. Or
so can you give me any examples of when you've done something like that?
Yep. So the service supervisors are meant to put whether the key tracker number on top of the job card, and there's been a few times that hasn't been put, and then obviously I don't know what key to put in, so I'll go tell the service supervisor, I'll be like, oh, you didn't put the key tracker number in. Oh, really sorry. No worries. Just make sure, like, just try and remember for next time.
So what's that key tracker number for?
The key location on the key safe.
Oh, right, okay.
So you have a key safe board with thumbprint scan, and every key comes with a tag that the service advisors allocate to that key. If that makes sense?
Yeah, so you can find the keys.
That's it. Then you put the number in. So say it's 4756, and pull it in, and it tell you what number the keys in.
Okay. Yeah, because you want to be able to find the keys, don't you?
Of course.
So can you give me examples for where something's gone wrong in the workshop? Because obviously we know that not everything goes to plan in our industry.
Yeah.
So something's gone wrong when you've been doing a job.
Yeah.
And how you dealt with the situation.
Okay. Yep. So I done a job. Removed the piece. It was quite an old vehicle. Connector on the back of the engine. Tried to pull it off, but it was so corroded, and then it ended up just like almost peeling off.
So what job were you doing?
As a P200-200, it was an exhaust EGR cooler.
Oh, okay, yeah.
On a 2016 Audi A6. But I know it's 2016, but a lot of corrosion can happen in that many years.
Can, yeah.
Literally, the connector was like literally just peeled off almost, just like crumbed into pieces. Obviously, it was wasn't something I planned to do, so I instantly just stopped what I did. Went to the parts, made sure I got the exact right part number, reordered that anything I needed for that part, and then it came the next day, and I fixed it straight away. I did it straight away because if I said to myself, oh, I'll go and order that in a minute, you know for a fact it'd be an hour, 2 hours. Just forget to order it, and then you put it back together, and you forgot to order the connector, and you're slowing it yourself down, really.
So you pulled the connector off, it fell apart in your hands, basically crumbled in your hands.
Yeah.
You then went straight to parts.
Yeah.
To see what they've got in stock.
Yeah. See, I managed just to see the part number. The part number was just like where the bit wasn't crumbled, so I managed to see the part number on the connector.
Okay, that was lucky.
That was lucky. Yeah, it was just on the base, and I just sort of got a torch on it. Told the parts person the part number. Yep, you got no worries. You got it for you tomorrow, and then that was it. It was just there for me tomorrow morning, the morning after.
When was the customer coming back for that job? Was that an overnight job anyway?
It was a long booking, so we had the car for all week.
Oh, right, okay.
So, yeah, there was no concern with the customer.
Oh, that's good then. Okay. So when it comes to problem solving, what would you say your limitations are?
Limitations. So I'm not in terms of confidence. So do you mean like where my skills lie?
Either.
So obviously I'm still an apprentice. I'm still new, so my diagnostic mentality isn't the same as the diagnostic techs who have been doing it for 20 plus years.
Yeah.
So sometimes my process will be different to theirs. Still correct, but sometimes my process wouldn't get the final result that I was looking for, and then I'd be stumped at that point. So then that's when I would call for a help from a technician, and he'd be like, "Oh yeah, that's right. But then if you do this extra, then you can get to this." And then I'm like, "Oh okay, yeah, makes sense." And
okay, but like you say, that comes with experience.
of course, yeah. Like you've got some of the technicians who've been working with ALSA and Otis, like I said, years and years and years, and they know it like the back of their hand, sort of thing.
Yeah. So how long have you been working at Audi now?
I've been at Audi for just coming up to 4 years.
Yeah. So 4 years. I mean, it might seem like 4 years is quite a long time.
Of course, but you got to
It is.
think for the first year, you barely touch a car really for the first year.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and you're learning loads and loads and loads in a very short period of time.
Yeah, and that's just the simple stuff, and then you start going to the more in-depth stuff, and that's just
Exactly. Okay. So your company, along with every other company, needs to make money.
Yep.
So how do you work in a way to try and help them to do that?
How do I make money? So I'd always try and be efficient. I wouldn't ever say I had a job in. I wouldn't get the job in and then go and make a tea or go and chat to my mate for 5 minutes. Or I'd want the jobs in my hands. That job's being done there and then. It's not. I'll do it in a minute. I'll do it in a minute. Because yes, I'm not being done on efficiency, but however, any job done through the door is money in the company's pocket. If that makes sense.
Yeah, that definitely does. So is there anything that you've suggested that could help the company reduce costs or reduce risks at all?
Probably in terms of cost, just going to the basics like turning switches off for lights and generators and compressors. Sorry. Stuff like that. It was not leaving stuff off overnight when the dealerships are closed. Like it's just literally just like throw money out the window, really. I know that's like basic, but then you're still saving money for the company just by turning the light switch off.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. What about reducing risks at all? Have you mentioned anything about, we could reduce risks because of this?
Going back to the cleanliness, like, or if you clean your risk, so or the tool room, like obviously where your oil drainers are kept, they can leak. It's very easy for them to leak or get dirty. Making sure they're clean, that you don't have drips of oil, because not even a technician, a service advisor could be walking through and then slip on oil. Or you do the basic stuff to reduce the maximum stuff. Really, like you just minimize it all. You keep it all clean, keep it stuff tidy. Put stuff, heavy stuff. Don't put it on a higher shelf.
Mm-hmm.
So in parts, for example, they don't want to put a gearbox on the top shelf, do they? They want to just keep it low so they can transport easily up.
So what do you understand about the difference between your role in the workshop and your responsibilities and the other technicians?
I still know I'm an apprentice, and I'm obviously in the terms a lower tier of the workshop, and just in terms of what I'm labelled as. But I know my play. I know if 4 tires need to be done, they're going to pick me over the technician. They're going to pick me over the diag tech. Of course they are. Like, I'll never disagree. I'll never start like kicking off about, I don't want to do 4 tires. You just do the 4 tires. If you know what I'm saying. I'm not going to waste a technician's time who could be valuable in the next 5 minutes, because a customer could walk in and say they've got a pretty bad fault. They need it looked at straight away. You'd rather send a diagnostic tech rather than the apprentice, if you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I completely understand that. Okay.
So it's like then that rolls back to the teamwork situation, like you said earlier. It's just you help each other out, you help the company out. It's just that's how it works.
Yeah, definitely. So how do you ensure that your work that you do is to a high standard and to a good time scale? How do you make sure that you do that?
Following any instruction on ALSA, because obviously ALSA is calculated the most efficient and safe way to do the job. Also, just from learning from other technicians who did applying PPE, VPE, so just anything to protect the customer's vehicle, to keep things safe, keep yourself safe. That's just from what I've been taught in the years I've been here, because obviously they need to show me everything about how the professionalism works here. And then in terms of efficiency of work, you get more confident with the more times the jobs to do. So obviously the first time I did a service, so doing a service now, of course I'm going to be faster just because I know the process and the routine. And then that brings me on to the routine. If you get yourself your own personal routine, you'll find you're much more efficient than if you keep switching it over every day.
Yeah, it's that repetitive thing, isn't it?
Of course, you repeat a thing 5 times a day, you're going to be able to smash it.
So what about protecting the environment and minimizing waste? How do you do that?
So oil is quite a big one for us. So making sure you either don't waste, also if you have a little bit left, you don't just throw it away, keep it, add it to your next car, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So you can always keep oil, and same for recycling. So putting the bottles in the actual waste bottle area. Don't put them in the general waste bin, because it just messes everything up with the bin situation and the bin will get angry. And emissions, so making sure your extractor, so even as looking after yourself, making sure the extractors are fed if you're having the engine running in the workshop, because no one wants to breathe in all that exhaust fumes.
Okay. So when it comes to sort of chemicals and stuff like that, how do you dispose of chemicals?
We have chemical allocated barrels out the back, which you can dispose of straight away, and then the people from the company come and empty them every so often.
Okay. So what would be the impact to both the environment and to the company itself if you weren't doing stuff like that, if you weren't disposing of chemicals correctly, if you weren't keeping the workshop tidy?
Oh, then of course it would be a disaster, really, because obviously in the long term you're crippling the environment, because if you're, say, I don't know, pouring oil into the drain for whatever reason,
yep,
you obviously, everyone knows the damage that can do. Or if you pour into the grass, you're just killing the grass off. You're killing the water line in the drain off. So in the long run, you're already damaging yourself. And as a company, if you're seen doing it, or if you're found out doing it, that's instant closure, really, because of the damage you're doing. So it'd be close to the business, probably.
Okay. So you say everybody knows what damage it does if you chuck oil down a drain. What damage does it do?
Obviously it follows the pipe work, and then it ends up in wherever the water ends up, and then you end up mixing everything together, and then you can kill habitat and damage other areas of respiration. Anything that grows, it just killing off, really.
So what about if you're at work and you see a faulty piece of equipment? What are you going to do about
that? Report it straight away, so don't even bother trying to use it, or be like, oh yeah, I can get one more use out of that before it fully breaks. You grab it before the next technician tries it, and then you grab it, you show the brush control or the after sales manager, say, look, this is broken, this gets used twice a day, every day. We need to try and get one ordered, but don't let anyone else use it for now because it's broken.
So tell me why you came into the industry.
You probably get the same answer every time, but like, as a kid, always liked cars, loved cars, always watched all the films, all the programs, loved like just messing about with stuff, like mechanically, if that makes sense. Always liked unscrewing stuff and trying to fix it back together straight away. And then saw I live quite local, so I always saw the dealership, and I thought, it's quite a nice brand and stuff. And then I thought, I finished school, literally did my GCSEs that summer, looked on anything, as you did 16-year-old, you look what to do in your life. Saw the application, and I just thought, you know what, it ticks all the boxes, really. So then I went in for the interview meeting, and rest is history, really.
Rest is history, yeah. So have you got anybody in the family that's in the industry, or?
No, just me. My granddad used to be an aircraft engineer in the Navy back in the day. So he knows his way around engineering, and like privately, he likes to just build his own cars and like build his own stuff and that. Mm-hmm. He's much older now. He doesn't really do it anymore. But back in the day, he had that engineering mindset.
Yeah.
Apart from that, nah, it's just me in the motor trade, really.
Okay. So do you do anything in your spare time to do with the industry at all, or?
I like to go to I like to do a few car shows and stuff like that. And I'd happily, like, if someone's a question about an Audi, like, not that I'm a salesman, but anything that can help to, if they ever ask, oh, wow, how did you recommend, or is this Audi good? Or, and I'll tell them, oh, it's got this, or it has this situation. I'm not trying to sell the car, but the knowledge I know, I'll happily share it, if that makes sense.
Okay. So what sort of car shows do you go to?
Just like there's a few local ones around, and then there's one down like the coast, which is pretty nice. I forgot what it's called, but yeah, down by the coast, it's pretty nice.
Okay. Cool.
I wouldn't mind going to Goodwood Festival of Speed at some point, but
Yeah, I've never been there myself, and I keep on saying I need to go, but yeah, yeah, unfortunately, I just never end up going.
Yeah.
So in our industry, we're constantly learning new stuff.
Yeah.
Why is that important?
Because technology is changing with us. So you got to think technology today compared to 20 years ago, crazy difference. Technology today, 20 years in the future, will be a crazy difference. Every day, you just got an engineer or a manufacturer out there in either Germany or wherever can just be like, oh, this works. And then instantly everyone's got to adapt to it. Everyone's got to learn how it works. Everyone's got to learn how to change it, to fix it. Because you can't create something which only one person can fix, if you know what I mean. So like Canlin and FlexRay.
Yeah.
My knowledge isn't great on that, but I know the basics, and just how someone thought of that and then managed to put it into a car and then managed to teach everyone else how it works and fix it is absolutely crazy.
Certainly is. So what ways do you think that you learn best?
Definitely practice.
Okay.
So definitely doing something more than once definitely helps me, and also being shown physically. So rather than someone say, oh, imagine this, imagine that, imagine this, I'd rather than, right, come here, this. So they show me something in the engine bay, so an engine, so that was like, that's your head, and then your pistons. Like, they just show me, like, if a technician's got an engine pulled apart, they show me, right, this does this, this does that, rather than just trying to imagine stuff or paint a picture in my head. I need to see it, really.
So did you find it difficult classroom wise to actually visualize things?
No, because I also like videos. Sorry, videos are also
okay.
very helpful for me. I need to, because if I end up getting trying to imagine, I end up imagining something completely different compared to what it is, and so when it is put in front of me, I'm not ready with it. Whereas if you show me a video, say, I'm like, oh yeah, it looks familiar, I know how it works. But yeah, definitely repetition helps the most, I'd say, for me.
So what would you say is next for you then in your learning journey?
So on the hope of completion of apprenticeship, probably look into my progressing it, only simply because I'd say the HVE is, one, interests me, and two, is probably the smartest move considering the future of the motor industry.
Okay. So is there any way that you sort of track your learning, stuff that you've done, courses you're going to go on, that sort of stuff?
Leap is a good website for the enrollment of lessons and just your overall achievements. Everything is stored and recorded on Leap.
Is that through the Volkswagen training group, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So have you ever shared an experience with a colleague or shown somebody how to use a piece of equipment at all?
So there is the tire machine. So
Okay.
I couldn't quite figure that. So
No,
tire
okay.
machine. So when the new apprentice joined, obviously by the time he joined, I'd done 1,001 tires and the rest. So I'd happily confident enough to explain, show, practice, let him practice how to even just get the tire off. Because obviously, as a fresh apprentice, you don't even have to take the tire off the wheel, sort of thing. So from the get go, you just show them, right, raise the car on the ramp safely, make sure no one's around you, get the blocks in the right location, make sure you get the lock component out the boot of the glove box or wherever it's located. Show them how to work the wheel off. So making sure you don't, the lock component that's secure in the bolt, make sure you don't round anything off. Take the wheel off safely, 2 hands, get it off, take it to the tire machine. Sorry. Let all the air out of the tire with the valve key. and then show them the process of the tire machine. Take it off the bead, balance, even balancing, just anything they won't know.
Okay. So when you're doing something like a service, how do you make sure that you don't miss any of the faults that are on the vehicle?
If I find one, I report it straight away. I don't collect it in my head. If I find something, I write it down or I put it on my computer straight away. Because if I spot something, be like, yeah, there's that, and I carry on with the check, it's like the health check. 9 times out of 10, you're gonna forget it. Yeah. So you find something, say you find a broken spring on the rear broken spring, snapped. I'd instantly see it, go to my paperwork, write it down, go to the computer, write it down, get it on the system, just so there's no chance of forgetting it.
Okay, so when you're going around the vehicle, then obviously you're writing things down as you're finding them. How do you sort of ensure that when you're going around the vehicle, you're not going to miss anything as you're going around? Because there's quite a lot of things to look at, isn't there?
Yeah, follow a process, and there's also something you can follow on Alster as well.
Oh, okay.
There's also there's a maintenance table you can also follow.
Oh, okay. So it's sort of like a stuff to follow on.
Yeah, and also just being taught where to look and what to search for by other technicians when you first join. And obviously, like I said earlier, you get your routine, which make sure you check all the boxes. Obviously, but you do it efficiently.
Okay. And then obviously, once you've done your service, you've got a service indicator to reset.
Yeah.
How would you do that?
So plug the laptop in, go through guided, special functions, and then depending if it's fixed or flexible, you then reset to what the customer needs.
Okay, they're fairly straightforward now, aren't they? A lot of them you do through
Yeah.
Elsa or any other manufacturers.
Some brands you can actually just reset it like on a few buttons. If you press a few buttons at the same time, sort of thing. Whereas Audi just like to do the computer job.
Yeah, a lot of the older ones are sort of buttons, and you have to know the certain sequence.
Yeah. So I know Mercedes has a sequence and stuff.
Yeah. So when you finished your job, you've reset the light, and then you come to do your paperwork. Okay, why is it important to make sure that your job card that you fill out is accurate?
Because that's the information obviously going back to the customer. So anything you write down is what the customer's going to be reading. It has to go through. Sorry, it has to go through technician, say me, with all my information, which goes through the workshop controller to the service advisor to then the customer. That's the job card's travel route, but it's important for me to write down all the correct and clear information because that's what's going to be laid out to the customer by the end of the system. So anything I write down must be correct, accurate, and clear.
What about getting information from the customer then? Why is that important?
Because it helps you with your overall diagnosis, really. If a customer comes in, you have 2 customers, one customer says, I've got a noise from my engine area. And then the other one says, I've got a noise from my engine area early in the morning. Doesn't heat up as quickly, does this at this time, happens when I stop the vehicle. You're instantly already thinking what it possibly could be. It clears any other things you might be thinking of compared to the customer who just said, I've got a noise in my engine area. So you're already then being efficient with your diagnosis.
Yeah, noises are the worst ones, aren't they? Because it's like, I've got a noise. Okay.
Literally.
Yeah, give us a clue. Okay. So you mentioned to me about Elsa earlier on. Can you just tell me what Elsa is?
Elsa is just your like overall guide, like manual, really. Yeah, for any Audi. So it's just you can find recalls, which is like common faults, which has to be brought in deemed by the manufacturer as unsafe. So that's something you can find on Elsa. So recalls, TPI, which is technical product information, which is repetitive faults. So say you run there's an EML light and you run a test plan on guided and it has a fault code, you put the fault code into the TPI, and another 100 technicians might have already done that one before and the same faults fixed it every time. So you follow that process because it tells you the instructions set on that. You also get maintenance tables. You get maintenance manuals, which is your instructions for anything on that vehicle which can be removed. It'll tell you how to do it on ALSA. Your vehicle information, your vehicle data, so your manufacturing date, anything, PR numbers. So if you need to find out certain spec of the vehicle, just your PR numbers.
That makes your job a lot easier then.
Oh yes.
So what is your approach to keeping yourself and others in the workshop safe?
Little things mean a lot, really. So driving a vehicle around the dealership, so you're sticking to your 5 mile an hour limit. Your hazards are always on, because you can see it. You're flashing at you, especially the electric vehicles as well. Them being the more quiet side of things, but hazards are always on. 5 miles an hour max. You don't have to reach that. You just creep at 2 miles an hour if you want to, because you may have a customer walking around. You may have a salesman walking around. You could have another technician walking around. And in the workshop, like, you just slow, get on your ramp, and then stop the vehicle.
What about in general when you're working then? What sort of things do you have to think about to keep yourself and others safe?
You wear your PPE, so your safety specs, your peer defenders. If you're going to be absolutely whacking something for the next 10 minutes, you let everyone know. Or you got your air saw. If you're cutting a bit of something like, say, carpet out, or you're cutting a tow bar out, let everyone know, tell everyone, oh, look, air saws out, ear defenders. At the end of the day, you want them to do it for you as well. So,
what about the customers' vehicles then? How do you keep them safe?
as much protection as possible. So inside the vehicle, you'll have your gear stick cover, your handbrake cover, seat cover, floor mat, and steering wheel cover. And then out of the vehicle, you'll have, if the bonnet's up, your bumper cover and your side covers. And you just got to treat the car like it's your own, treat it with respect.
Right, so we're going to move on to the job card now.
Yep.
So could you just give me a rundown of the job that you did, sort of go through your diagnostic process for me?
Yep. So we went to the motor controller office. There was a job in my allocated area. We have allocated racks. Pulled my job card. It stated EML light on dash. So, okay, went and got the keys from the tracker board. Got my PP. Got my VPA, VPE stuff. Went to the vehicle, applied it all. Drove the vehicle into the workshop with my hazards on, going slowly. Already confirmed the EML light on the dash, which I could see as soon as I started the vehicle up. So I pulled it in, clocked into the job for the administration, clocked into the job, opened the bonnet, put my bumper cover and stuff on, put the 12-volt charger on, got my guided fault finding loaded up. Also loaded the car up on ALSA to check for any recalls, because the EML light might have been linked to any recalls. So there wasn't. There's no recalls stated. I then ran the guided and found the fault code for the EML light, and there was no TPIs for that either. So the next step would then be to follow the test plan. And that's when the test plan stated the GX7 and the GX10 lambda sensors. So that's pre-cat and post-cat. Pre-cat being what measures the air fuel ratio before it goes into the catalytic converter.
Okay. And
the post lambda sensor is making sure the function of the catalytic converter is doing its job properly. So around the test plan is stated for me to visually check the lambda probe. So then I raised the vehicle up safely, so put the blocks in the right location, make sure there's no one around my ramp, lifted it up to the location. The location was underneath the vehicle, almost back of the engine, and that's where my 2 sensors were. The vehicle had been driven not far, so I let the vehicle cool down for about 10 minutes. By now it was already cool enough. Put some gloves on for any dirt and heat. Unscrewed them with the oxy sensor sockets. Visually inspected them. Nothing, no wiring defects or anything like that. Anything that would have caused a EML light. So carried out a resistance check after that. Just still following the test plan. Carried out a resistance check. So I got my digital voltmeter on the two pins of the connector for the GX7 lambda sensor, and I'm checking for OAL, which is open circuit, because I know that's where the fault lies. But there was still a resistance. It was about 0.2 ohms, so that's fine. That's what you want, really.
Okay.
So I knew it wasn't a resistance fault. Carried on going through the test plan, and it stated replace the GX7 lambda sensor due to internal electrical malfunction.
Okay.
So then I replaced it with a new one and cleared the faults through ALSA, ran the engine, EML light didn't go, then carried out a road test, 2-mile road test, which is routed, we all know the route. Did a ignition cycle 5 times, and EML light still wasn't present, and then it was fixed.
Okay, spare me a second. Okay, so obviously you're doing the O2 sensors on this. So what actually does a lambda sensor do? What's its purpose? What's it for?
So lambda sensor pre-cat, let's say,
Yep.
measures the air fuel ratio. So it's constantly reading what's being pushed through, and then I'll go to the ECU and adjust what it needs. So the ideal is called a stoichiometric value. That's the ideal measurement, which is 14.7 grams of air to 1 gram of fuel.
Okay.
40.71 to 1. Yeah, so 40.7 grams of air to 1 gram of fuel. Sorry.
That's all right.
That's quite a tongue twister.
I'm impressed that you remembered it was called stoichiometric, to be honest.
That's the bit I made sure to put in my head. So it's reading that data because with lambda sensors, there's wideband and then there's narrowband.
Yep.
So wideband is think of it as wider information. So you're collecting more information, it's more accurate, it's faster communication. In the newer models, it's wideband each side of the cat. However, back in the day, it used to be wideband and narrowband. Because of the post-cat and the narrowband, all that's got to do is say yes or no. Cat's working, cat's not working. Whereas now they're both wideband to send more data to the ECU. So yeah, the pre-cat lambda just reads that air fuel ratio, what's being pushed through. Is it too rich, too lean? Does it need more fuel? Does it need more air? It's always trying to hit that stoichiometric value. It's always trying to hit that perfect ratio.
Okay. So if you were to plug in your diagnostic and look at live data, yeah, for the pre and the post cat O2 sensors, what would you expect to see with the two live datas?
Be like a sine wave. It'd just be like up and down constantly.
So would they both be the same, or what would you expect?
Probably, yeah, it would be the same. Because it'd be what it receives from the cat it won't be the same as the post, if that makes sense.
Yeah, so they'd sort of track each other.
Yeah.
Okay. So what gases are going through into the cat? So what's produced by the engine?
So you have like 3 gases each side. So you have 3 gases before: hydrocarbons, nitrogen oxide, and carbon monoxide.
Okay.
Carbon monoxide, and then that goes through the cat, and then out comes water, carbon dioxide, and nitrogen.
Okay, you don't want hydrogen coming out there.
Yeah, nitrogen, sorry.
So what's the cat made from then? So it's obviously got something inside there to create this chemical reaction. What
yeah, so it's made of like layers. So it's got like so a few layers of materials in there. It's almost like if you were to cut open, it's almost like a honeycomb sort of layout.
Okay.
So it just it's very fine holes in all the like the polymers and the materials going through. There's like 3 layers, and it goes through, and the cat is just filtering everything it doesn't want and storing it in there. Filter, and then what pushes it out is what the car wants out. If that makes sense. That's why if your cat is ever like if your catalytic converter fails or whatever, your emissions just like skyrocket because that cat is not working. That's why you have a post cat lambda sensor.
Yeah.
If that post lambda sensor is reading, that's not right, and it flags up, right, needs a new catalytic converter.
Okay. So talking about the different emissions coming out of the exhaust then.
Yep.
So if we got excessive amounts of carbon monoxide coming out of the exhaust, what possible causes could that be?
That could be due to the faulty pre-CATS lambda sensor.
Okay.
Because it's not reading the right values. So then it's pushing the wrong amount of air fuel into it, causing more carbon monoxide to go in. And then, or if the catalytic converter fails, which is what's filtering the carbon monoxide could escape through out into the exhaust.
Okay. So obviously a faulty sensor, possibly. But is there anything else inside the engine that could, or engine side of things that could cause excessive carbon monoxide?
Too much fuel.
Okay. And how would we get too much fuel going through?
If the fuel system isn't, if the injectors are injecting too much, say it's out of time, or the ECU is just not communicating properly, it's just injecting too much fuel into the pistons, into the combustion, and then firing out too much fuel.
Okay, thank you. So when you found out that it was the sensor that had failed, what sort of things did you do then? How did you report the fault?
On my write up, so I did a write up, telling everything I did, everything I carried out. Sorry, the process I followed. So then it was clear for the customer what I had done. So I hadn't just been like, oh, I fixed your car. I told them step by step in the write up what I did, how I carried it out, the reason for it, the solution to it, and then why you haven't now got an EML light on your dash.
So is this a warranty job or is it a retail job?
Warranty.
It's warranty. Okay. So obviously, car came in with an EML light on.
Yeah.
And then you found out it was the O2 sensor.
Yeah.
Replaced the O2 sensor. Did your job card.
Yeah.
Job.
Yeah. So you do your dish report and everything like that, which is all warranty side of things.
Okay. So do you have to report your findings to anybody, or is it just a matter of just doing the job card on
that? So once you've written on your disc, back of your job card, I'd also tell the works controller, who then tell the service advisor, just so then if they have interaction with the customer, they can then tell the customer straight away what it needs. So then they can start telling them like, oh, it take this long, blah blah blah, just to let the customer know how long it's going to take for the vehicle to be ready.
So why do you think it's important to have like a reporting process like that?
Just keeps things in line, keeps things locked in, it keeps things tidy. So if you have a reporting system, obviously we as technicians haven't got the time to then ring the customer up and say, oh, you need this, because then we're on the phone for 10 minutes. Whereas you tell your works controller, who then will tell the service advisor, whilst that's being done, you could then start your next job, or maybe start prepping for your next job. Just so then the service advisor could then contact the customer, tell them how long the car is going to be, get the part ordered, and that's why it's always good to follow a system, because it just makes things more efficient. Don't try and take everything on your own shoulders.
Wrong buttons. Okay. So you completed the job. You told me that you deleted the fault codes. You went on a road test. What else would you have done when you completed the job after you came back off your road test? Did you do any other checks or anything?
Yeah. So once I've done my ignition cycle as well.
Okay. So what's your ignition cycle?
So ignition cycle, that's what you did. Like, so ignition on off 5 times.
Okay.
that just resets any information the ECU knows. And if there is a fault to be stored, it would come up on the dash straight away.
Right. Okay.
That's like how the ECU works. So if you do it 5 times, anything that the ECU reads wrong will then fire at you.
Right. Okay. So you did that after the road test.
Yep. So yeah, you do your road test, then you do your initial cycle, because the road test will just get any data from the sensors or from the engine, obviously, and then do your initial cycle, know your highlight, and it's all good.
Okay. Thank you. So you'll be pleased to know that we have now finished. So we've gone through everything. Okay. So how things work from now.
Yeah.
So basically I go through and I've been making loads of different bits of notes up there. So I go through, we go through all my notes, add any more information that I need to, and then put grades at the side of it all. Okay. Once I've done that, I then upload it onto our system. Okay. Once it's on our system, it can go through a moderation process, which is basically somebody else from our team has a look at the document, re-watches the video, just make sure that the grades that I've given are fair and accurate.
Yep.
Okay. Then it comes out to results for you. So you get your results up to 21 days from today.
Yeah.
Okay. They can come through separate to the skills test. Okay. So I know they're quite close together, but they can come out completely separate.
Yeah.
Okay. On so the results will come out to you via email.
Cool.
They'll come to you, your boss, and the training provider all at the same time. Okay. When they come out, you'll see the overall grade at the top, and then it will list down a bit of criteria so you can see exactly what has happened for each of the criteria that you've gone through. Okay. And that's it. All done.
Perfect.
Okay. So thank you very much. And I wish you all the best in the future.
Thank you.
Yeah, we are all finished. So thank you.
Perfect. Thank you very much, mate.
All right, no problem. So if I could just ask you to hit the leave button for me.
Yeah, that's fine. See you later.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.
Bye.
Take care.